My movie is called The Adventure, and it's about a couple named Randy and Shakira who both have been together for about 2 years now, but during this 2 years, they've kind of lost touch with their family. So they both decide that it's best to kind of get back in touch with their family and set up kind of like a visit where they're going to get back together, like, because they've been in touch, but just kind of small talk, not really truly visiting each other and getting and truly staying as close as family generally does. So when Randy touches out to his family, they responded very well to his invitation. They set up a time for them to come and visit. However, when Shakira reached out to her family, she found that her brother had picked up and basically told her parents both died in different tragic events. So, with this kind of horrible news that she received, she kind of spun out into a life of kind of like depression and trying to basically find herself kind of like worth in drugs and stuff, trying to basically not really find herself, but kind of cover it up what she's been trying to hide. So as Randy sees this all start to spiral out of control, he decides that it's on him to finally figure out how to get her back to her normal self. So when he does this, he starts thinking of different ideas, but can't really think of any that'll truly get her out of this. Because since they're in New York City, it's hard to get out of that situation without completely moving out of the area. So he talks to his friends about this, and they suggest that him and his wife find a piece of land and just kind of live out on their own off the grid and basically get back to their roots, and so she can kind of stay away from the drugs. And Randy believes this is a great idea because with not being in the city, she won't be able to have as great of access to drugs as she does, if any at all. So he kind of keeps it all a secret until the day of their leaving, and just basically tells her that they're going to a rehab center because he knows she will not be on board with going to this property. As they start to board the plane, she figures out that they're not going where he says they were going, so he tells her. And she has a much better reaction than he was expecting. However, it still wasn't great. And once they got to Washington State where they were going, they had to buy different gear and stuff that would have them set up for what they were about to basically take on, which was the wilderness. And after they take their survival gear from the store and purchase everything, they finally start walking on their property and basically find where they're going to live for the next however long until they're basically found themselves again. And after several months of very successful, basically self treatment for his wife, they decide to go to town because kind of celebrate because she had been in depression and climbed out of it and kind of just found self worth again. So while they were in town, they stayed 2 nights at a hotel, and when they were on their way back to their cabin, they realized that several animals had gotten into their food supply and just kind of ate everything they had. So with this, they kind of both were set back mentally as this wasn't what they were expecting at all. And Randy decides that it's his duty to go out and secure more food. And while he's doing this, he is attacked by a bear, in which his wife Shakira has to basically save him and get him um, to an ambulance. And they start making the full, and he then has to make a recovery in which they know they can't live back on the cabin where they're both happy. But however, they're both kind of helped each other in the relationship, and then kind of move back to the city and are finally happy again. So that is what is called The Adventure.